Good morning and welcome to the Saturday Morning Sports Show here on 97.3 WRUL, 93.3 WROY, AM 1460, and online worldwide at WRUL.com. Saturday Morning Sports Show is sponsored by Cherry Street Automotive, Citizens National Bank, Nancy J. Winter CPA, Hale Body Shop, Roerock Transport, Farrell Hospital, Little Giant Grocery Outlet, Wabash Christian Therapy, Bush & Associates CPAs, Taylor Eye Care, People's National Bank, Hamilton Memorial Hospital, Rush Appliance, Wabash General Hospital, Carmi Lumber Company, Country Financial Rep Kyle Hosick, Pro Rehab Carmi, Rice Motor Company, Southern Illinois Trading and Supply, Expressway Ford, Jordan Funeral Group, First Mid-Bank and Trust, Huck's Market, Invenergy, Jansen Auto Group, and Carmi Kiwanis Club. Big thanks to all of our sponsors for both the Saturday Morning Sports Show and our Bulldog and Lady Bulldog basketball broadcasts this winter. Cole Carter with you, JC Tinsley across the hallway getting us on the air, and welcoming in my sidekick for the next couple of months. Chris Myers out, comes in Travis Black. Travis, welcome back to the studio, buddy. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. I mean, it's always good to be, being able to broadcast good Bulldog winter athletic sport.
Yeah. And it's crazy that here we are. It blows me away that Thanksgiving is next week. It's like fall sports goes so quickly, and then now all of a sudden, usually we have a couple of week gap in there between football and basketball, but of course the volleyball team having a fantastic season. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but here we are. Basketball season has started for the girls. They played their first game back on Thursday, and Travis, you've been busy as well. Your first year coaching 7th grade boys basketball here in Carmi. How's that going for you?
That's going good. I got a good group of young guys in 7th and 8th grade levels, and the 8th grade's 3-0. The 7th grade is 2-1 and had a tough loss Tuesday against Hamilton County, but it's a good group of kids, and it's just good to teach them the game and start them at a young level, and then as we get to see them progress through their athletic careers all the way up to their senior year in high school.
Now, you've got big shoes to fill there in the 7th grade. Remember the legendary Denny Anderton. Now, are you letting your kids shoot three-pointers, or are you letting them this year?
It's not about so much letting them; it's that they're taking them. So I just can't really say no if they're going in. So.
Well, indeed, basketball season, it's pretty much here. The girls started their season, high school girls, that is, back on Thursday with a win over Lawrenceville. We're going to chat with head coach Clinton Wolf here in about 10 minutes from now. We do want to recap what happened last week and what has happened the last couple of months for the Carmi-White County Lady Bulldog volleyball team. Those of you that live under a rock, the Lady Bulldogs went up to the state tournament last weekend, Friday and Saturday. Travis, I know you were there as well, but I tell people, when you go to the state finals, no matter the sport, obviously Southern Illinois, you're going to see some really good teams every once in a while. But when you get up to either it's at Champaign or Normal, wherever it may be for whatever sport, then it's a whole nother level because you're seeing teams from Chicago, teams from around the Chicago area, around the Springfield area. And as the Lady Bulldogs witnessed last weekend, when you see some of those private schools from up there, it can be a handful.
Yeah, it's like almost like they're playing a different sport. And you'll see those, and they're always in the state titles, those, suburb Chicago teams, those private schools, and then you'll see one Southern Illinois team make a magical run like Carmi was able to do this year. And it's just a different level. Like, even you could tell in that first game against IC Catholic in the semifinal, Carmi kind of was a little shell-shocked at how fast, how athletic, and how powerful their girls were. But then they kind of settled in after, and it's just getting over that shell shock, that initial jolt of this is a state title game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what the Lady Bulldogs were able to do this season, just some of their accomplishments, a 33-9 record. Those 33 wins are the most wins in a single season in school history. They finished second place at the NCOE tournament. They won the Benton Classic tournament. They finished in third at the Fairfield Invitational. They won their second regional championship in the last 3 years, their first sectional championship in school history, their first super sectional championship in school history, and the first appearance at the state finals in school history, and the first Black Diamond Conference team to ever place at the state finals. Now, Edwards County had a couple of teams back in the early 2010s that got, I believe, second, third, and fourth at the state tournament, but that was when they were a part of the Little Illini Conference. So the Lady Bulldogs' first team in Black Diamond Conference history as well to place at the state finals. They brought home fourth place. They lost to Immaculate Conception Catholic out of Chicago in the first semifinal by 2 sets. They came back the next day and played a really scrappy Rock Falls team in that first set. They had a lead. They let it go at the end of the first set, but they did lose in 3 sets to bring home 4th place. But congratulations to head coach Chris Lucas on an outstanding season, one that really made a turn in the last stretch of the season to pull off some of these wins. And the big one to stand out to me, Travis, is that sectional championship over Fairfield. I thought in the super sectional against St. Thomas More, Carmi was the better team and they won the match. But man, that Fairfield sectional championship, Fairfield have beaten Carmi twice. They're able to meet them at the sectional title game, and we're able to get that 3-set victory.
Yeah, and that's one of those things in sports is it's hard to beat a team 3 times.
Yeah.
It is hard to do it, and especially when the playoffs start. Records are 0-0, and in that situation, you're in a sectional championship. Carmi has nothing to lose and everything to gain because Fairfield beat them twice. More of a higher ranked opponent, and all the pressure was on them. And Carmi was able to, rally together and come out with a W.
I think the biggest thing is it's really unique. Going up to Bloomington last weekend and just being at the state finals. It hasn't happened many times with Carmi Athletics, and I think what Chris Lucas has brought to the program since he took over a couple of years ago was that winning mentality, and he wants this to be obviously the first trip to the state finals, but not the last. And Travis, when you want to build that winning culture, and Carmi, I think, wants to be familiar with that postseason success. They don't want to be a one-season fluke by any means.
Yeah, it's all about a mentality, and it starts at the top, and it starts with the head coach. And I've talked to some of the volleyball girls, and they told me, they were giving me, coaching tips for, my 7th grade team. They said, well, Coach Lucas says we're winning every game. Comes into it, we're winning every game. And I said, well, that's a great mentality to have because it starts at the top and it just works its way down from your seniors to your juniors to your sophomores to your freshmen all the way throughout the program. And Carmi did a good job this year of really focusing in on what they wanted, and that was to win every single set. And they did not give up, even if they were behind on a set. If they would, they dropped the first set of the sectional championship, the first sectional game, the championship, and the super sectional.
Most of the games
they were fighting from behind,
yeah.
And that's just the type of mentality you have to have. You have to still have that confidence, even when you're down. You still got to look for opportunities to capitalize on, and Carmi did that consistently throughout that magical run.
And what's great for the Lady Bulldogs as far as volleyball is just one senior, Mara Serafini, who was an outstanding player, had an outstanding season. Man, the youth of this team, and that's what we talked about last weekend, in their first semifinal matchup against IC Catholic. That was a team full of juniors and seniors who got second place in the state last year. So you talk about the comparison of experience. Here's a bunch of sophomores and juniors and one senior from a small town in southern Illinois compared to the juniors and seniors of this Chicago private school that have been there. And experience makes a big difference. But Travis, now these youngsters, these sophomores and juniors who were so impactful of the team this year, they've got that experience. That's only going to fuel them for the next 2 years.
Yeah, experience always helps in a playoff situation. That's why you look towards upperclassmen who's had that experience. Well, Carmi is fortunate enough to have basically their whole starting lineup returning besides the one senior in Serafini, and it's one person's going to have to fill in that spot, but that experience is just going to help them be better next year. And I think we might be looking at a even higher placing team next year.
It's definitely possible. Like Coach Lucas said, talking to him after the game, it's really hard just to win a regional around here. And we've seen some really good teams just get really tough pairings, but obviously one game at a time. But he's looking forward to next year already, looking forward to getting the Lady Bulldogs back to the state finals eventually. And hopefully it is next year because, man, what a fun postseason this was for the Lady Bulldogs over the past couple of weeks. And again, congratulations to Coach Lucas and the girls placing fourth to the IHSA state finals last weekend up in Normal. We'll take our first break of the morning. When we come back, we'll welcome in our special guest to talk about Lady Bulldog basketball right here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.3 WRUL, 93.3 WROY, AM 1460. Welcome back to the Saturday Morning Sports Show here on 97.3 WRUL, 93.3 WROY, AM 1460, and online worldwide at WRUL.com. Cole Carter and Travis Black, JC Tinsley across the hallway getting us on the air. Going to welcome in our special guest for the morning, Carmi-White County Girls Basketball Coach Clinton Wolf. Coach, thanks for stopping by this morning.
Morning, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Well, you've had a busy week, to say the least. Before we get to talking about how things have looked so far this week, let's look back to last season. You guys went 10-20. Kind of a reload year. You had some youngsters kind of filling in. A couple of seniors go out, but you're bringing a lot of that core from last year's team back to this year. Kind of talk about that transition from what you had last year now getting ready for this season.
Yeah, last year we had 3 seniors, primarily just started one most of the year. The other 2 were bench players or at times would be in the starting lineup based on matchups. So we bring back 4 girls that were in the starting lineup most of the year. Addie Elliott came off the bench last 4, so got a ton of varsity minutes. So we pretty much bring back 5 of our top 6 girls from last year. And as far as the transition, it's been really, really smooth because they had so many minutes. They got so much experience last year as underclassmen that we were able to roll in. When we did our summer stuff, we kept it real simple, and that worked out really well because with the limited number of practices that we've been able to have, we kept it really, really simple, and we're going to have to for a while. But yeah, our young girls got a ton of minutes last year, had an opportunity to see a lot of varsity action in some very, very tough games against some good opponents. And I think that really helped them for what we're going to see this year.
Well, you mentioned those practices. You were put in a pretty unique spot with the volleyball team having their success. You had your volleyball players for 3 practices before your first game on Thursday. First of all, congrats on the win on Thursday. You guys took down Lawrenceville 59-41. But kind of what's your thought process there as far as, okay, you've got 6 girls that are moving on from one sport to another, really no break in between, and we got a game in 3 days.
Well, I said it the other day when I spoke at Kiwanis. You know, our top 7 girls, and Natalie Gomad will play quite a bit, but our top 7 girls, 6 of them were a major part of what the volleyball team just did, that historic run. 2 of them played all the way around, and then 4 of them were in the rotation. Joe went to state in tennis. Our top 6 girls are competitors. They like to win, and they're pretty good at what they do. And so it's like, okay, just keep it simple. And when we played basketball this summer, these girls play so many other sports that we were talking about before we went on air. Like, I didn't practice a bunch this summer. We had a few practices, talked about what we wanted to do offensively, and then continuing to how we want to guard. And then we just went and played several games, and our summer was really, really good. And coming into this season, Coach Simmons and I talked once we saw what was kind of happening with the volleyball team. It's like, same thing, just roll the ball out and let the girls do what they do. And we spent the first 3 practices talking about how we want to push the ball down the floor and get the ball out in transition more this year. And again, talked about guarding. The offense will take care of itself. I mean, that's just what we have to trust. We don't have an opportunity to get a billion shots up right now. We don't have enough time. And so, it was a great example. We shot, I think, 39% from the field. Most of them were 2-point shots around the bucket, right where we need them. We didn't shoot the ball very well from the outside, but we were able to get in transition. We were able to execute our half-court offense and get those easy shots that we needed to in order to start extending leads and kind of get the momentum in our favor. And that's hats off to these girls. They're, like I said, they're competitors. And we're going to have a whole lot of practices to get prepared for a whole bunch of different stuff. No, but that's okay because these girls listen. They're very, very coachable. They'll do everything that we ask them to do, and they're going to. I was trying to sub a lot, thinking to myself, okay, we need to be as fresh as we can. We've got 4 games next week. We play 3 in a row, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Let's save our legs a little bit the best we can. I mean, I'm pulling girls out, and I'm getting dirty looks, and they're mad. They're talking to Coach Simmons on the bench, like, why am I off? Like, that's the competitive nature that they have. That's those girls. They don't want to come out. They want to play. And so, it's fun. Great group of girls.
And I heard you mention you want to get up and down more this year. Like, and at the beginning of last year, you guys were up and pressing a little more. But this year, even the more depth you're going to have with just how athletic these girls are going to be, these sophomores and juniors that had that experience from last year, and with Mara and Joe, just speak to how. On the defensive end, are you guys going to get up and press more, or what are you looking to do?
No, we will press when we have to, but I learned real quick last year that's just not the mentality that this group has. They're a great half-court defensive team. They're great helpers, playing with their back to the bucket, help defense, going back to the Denny Andertons and the Randy Goins and the Bradleys and the Jared Newells and the Wade Thomases and the way my brother guards. Like, that's how we guard this down. And That's what most of us know how to teach and explain and coach, and that's what we do. And what we're talking about is, okay, when we get that rebound, is it an opportunity that we can get it out and then run the floor and push, or do we get a long rebound that we can just catch and go? Just our girls at times, and I've been doing this for a long time, they'll catch the ball, and instead of squaring the bucket and looking down the floor, they look to throw it back to the one person that's responsible for bringing the ball up the floor. And I've had to tell our girls all 3 days, we do not have a point guard. Every one of you that are on the floor can dribble. When Ashlyn Rager was in junior high, she brought the ball up the floor. She knows how to dribble. Use your dribble, get the ball down the floor. The ball moves faster than the air, in the air, through the air than it does dribbling. So get your eyes up, get the ball down the floor. Let's get a couple of passes and let's get some easy layups. That's what we're trying to do. And it worked really, really well. And we got, I think, 4 or 5 easy bunnies off that. And that's perfect. And then when it doesn't work, don't turn the ball over. We did a great job of that. Kept our turnovers under 20. I know most people are like, under 20. But first game, girls basketball, a lot of jump balls, a lot of turnovers, that's part of it. I think we had 16 turnovers, and 2 or 3 of them we were inches away from making an awesome play. And we will make those plays here in a couple of weeks. And so you look at that, we're talking 12 turnovers. That's awesome.
So you were set to start your season back on Tuesday, but you guys moved that game reasonably so with the volleyball team and their success. But you started your season on Thursday, had that big one over Lawrenceville. And again, it's your first game, limited practices, but what did you like, what did you not like from that win?
I liked our competitiveness. I liked how we got more comfortable in the second half and did knock down some outside shots. I don't think we made a shot in the first half. I had to go back and look at the stats on Huddle. I don't think we made a shot in the first half outside of 9 feet, which is okay. Like I said, I didn't expect us to shoot the ball extremely well. We settled down in the second half. We guarded extremely well. I was telling you guys before I came on here, Lawrenceville's got an unbelievable basketball player. I mean, step-back threes in the girls' game you just do not see very often. That's the Carly Foster type things that we saw from Gallatin County's best player that just graduated, thankfully. You don't see that. And at one point, Mara looks over at Coach Simmons and I, and it's like, well, how do I do? You can't guard that. Like, that's unbelievable. That's just a great player. But the rest of us guarded extremely well. And Mara did a great job. Mara held her to 12 points. She had 16 total, but that was the last minute. She got a couple easy run-outs. But Mara did a great job holding her to 12. And we made everybody else shoot. We rebounded extremely well. As far as things that I didn't like, I'm going to be honest with you, I liked everything. When you only have 3 practices and that's the outcome,
that's pretty good.
We out-rebounded them. We had less turnovers. We shot out the ball better than they did. I mean, statistically, every category, free throws. If we got to pick on something, we were 500. We were 50% at the free throw line. That's terrible. But, that goes back to we haven't shot. Yeah. Most of these girls haven't touched a basketball since June. So I was just happy to see some baskets go through the hoop. That was good.
So you guys start the Harrisburg tournament on Monday. That's something you guys have played in forever, but you see some good competition up there. And some years, some teams are up, some are down. You always know Harrisburg is going to give you fits, but the 4 teams you see next week, Harrisburg, El Dorado, West Frankfort, AJ, what do you know about them? And how much do you use that tournament really as just a learning point? Because obviously this early in the season you can only do so much, and given the fact that you've had 3 practices, 4 practices, how much you're going to use next week as a building block for this season?
Well, I look at it from a standpoint, it gives us an opportunity to see multiple different styles of defense. We know that El Dorado is going to play their 2-3. We know that West Frankfort's going to try to guard like we do, man-to-man in the half court, and try to do a really, really good job of playing help defense and forcing you to move the ball around and execute your offense in order to get shots. Harrisburg's going to, I don't know if they'll get up and down press like they have in the past. If they do a great job of trapping right there on the half court, and their rotation is unbelievable to get those steals. They're really, really good this year. They're a different kind of good. I think they got a little more length, a little more size than they've had in the past, so they're not as quick as what Jake's had in the past. So I don't know exactly if they'll get up. I've watched some film on them, and they haven't pressed yet, but those are also 2 games they didn't really have to. I mean, I know they played Carbondale. Carbondale's really good this year, but I could tell that Tracy and Jake both wanted to slow that one down a little bit because that would have turned into a track meet. So, but they're going to, in the half court, they're going to overplay. They're going to force you in bad spots. but you can also then backdoor and beat them on a few things. So we're going to see 3 totally different styles of defenses in back-to-back-to-back nights with 0 practice. And, you talk about your situational things, and I walked into my brother's practice yesterday, and he's working on his own defense for 30 minutes. I haven't got to work on anything for 30 minutes. And that's okay. Like I said, it's a great problem to have. I guess I'm trying to be a little comical here, but I'm ready to just roll it out because I'm so excited about this group. And I keep going back to how competitive they are, just how much they want to play. And again, basketball is not their number one sport, but they still want to come out and compete. And it's not just come out and I'm going to play and keep a third sport and stay in shape. No, they want to come out and compete and win. And fine with that. Okay, we'll do this against the zone. But again, they all got so much experience last year, and we haven't changed offensively what we do, so they all kind of know it. Now it's just getting in the rhythm. And going back to Thursday night's game, talking about the rhythm, I believe him, but you could see both teams were super nervous. I mean, Lawrenceville's got a brand new player to their squad, a senior. How's that going to gel? What's that chemistry look like? You could tell they were a little nervous. Our girls were completely scared to death for the most part because they knew, I'm not ready for this. We haven't done this enough. And I believe it was 4 and 20 some change on the clock, and the score was 6-1. Like neither one of us could score. It was the jitters. And we settled in and obviously took off and then scored 59 points, which I think is more points than we scored all of last year in any game. So, our girls settled in, and that's what I'm expecting next week. Just settle in, go play basketball, have fun. I mentioned the other day at Kiwanis, we will have our 7th game next week against El Dorado at El Dorado before we have our 7th practice, which will be that Friday after. That's almost a third of our season. We play 31 games, and we're going to play 7 basketball games before we have our 7th practice. So as far as what are we going to gauge from next week playing back to back to back? Thanksgiving, I'm giving the girls Friday off. Why? Go be a kid. Like I could come in and we could grind out a 2-hour practice and get ready for Anna Jonesboro that's going to play a 2-3 zone. It's the same thing that we saw Monday night. We can come in at 3:30 and talk about things we need to clean up and get on a bus and go play. And psychologically, that's going to be better for the girls than force them to come in on Black Friday when they'd rather be sleeping or shopping or whatever. Just not going to do it. So, and that's okay. Like, I love this group of girls that we've got, and I have no doubt in my mind that they'll show up. Coach Simmons will draw things up that we need to correct. They'll play hard, and win or lose, we'll compete.
I think what's unique about this group, and as you were telling us before we got on air, is you mentioned the competitive nature. And, in years past, you've got some really good athletes that say, I want to focus on one sport. And that's fine. But, you said that you don't want to do Saturday practice because you've got half your team playing travel sports in different states, doing whatever. I just find it unique that you've got a group of girls that, are so competitive and just want to be there, and they're playing these other sports on the weekends so they can still play basketball. Let's talk about that and how these girls are doing all that at the same time and just how they're making it work.
Absolutely. How they make it work, okay, that goes to the parents. So
Yeah.
huge shout out to the parents that put miles and miles and miles and hours and hours and hours into getting these girls, and not just girls. We have a lot of boys that do the same thing, where they need to be to do what they do. But, specifically about this group, when we talked about it, and I'm very open about this, our 5 starters, not one of them is a basketball first player. We've got 2 volleyball first players, we got 2 softball first players, and we got a girl that's tennis first. Seniors, we got 1 going to play at Kaskaskia tennis, we got 1 going to Wabash to play softball. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's awesome. And that's what a school our size has to have. We've got to have students that are willing to play multiple sports. And our coaching staff, and I say it all the time, we are so blessed that we all get along. Whether it's Coach Dixon, Coach Simmons, Coach Wolf, myself, Coach Simon, we all work together. Coach Lucas sent me a text on the bus ride up, hey, good luck this season. And he helped me with basketball my first 4 years. He and I helped him a lot with getting some film for volleyball. Mm-hmm. I can communicate it back and forth. But we all get along, and we all share our athletes, and we're aware of that, and we're fine with it. And when, I don't practice in December, January, and February on Saturdays. Rolling into February, maybe postseason if we need something, but not really, because we've got girls that are going and playing volleyball. We got girls that are going off and playing softball, and I just pray that they don't get hurt, And, my hope is that they don't wear themselves out.
Yeah.
But they're teenagers, and that's the way God made us. I mean, go play everything. Go. You say you're tired and exhausted. Well, come be an adult and tell me how tired and exhausted you are. Okay, you guys are fine as long as you get to bed in time and get enough rest. And we talked with our, athletic training staff all the time with Coach Lopez and Bennett. Like, the sleep is the biggest part. Sleep and nutrition. If you're putting the right food in your body and you're getting enough sleep, whether it's in the back seat of a car or in your bed, you're a teenager. You're gonna be fine. If you're eating like crap and you stay up too late, then you're gonna feel like you're drained and overworked. So you have to be disciplined enough, and our kiddos do that. Our girls do that. Be disciplined enough to take care of your bodies, get enough rest, get the right nutrition, and then just go play everything and just be an absolute competitor, because good things will happen when you do that.
So looking at around the Black Diamond, hard to remember last year. I know Fairfield had a good squad last year. Hamilton County was really good last year. They had some seniors, though. What's the BDC looking like this year? How do you think you guys fare with those other teams?
Yeah, so, Edwards County, I think, was a shock to everybody. They knew they had a really, really good group of freshmen last year. The Bishop girl is the best player in the conference, and so I fully expect them with – they graduated a couple seniors. That Shepherd girl was a really, really nice player, but they got the Nelson girl back. They got the McKinney girl, I think I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, and then they got their sophomore bunch. So I still think they're the best of the whole group. Fairfield's going to be okay. They graduated a couple of nice seniors, but they still got the Edwards girl. They still got the Ellis girl. They still have a couple of pieces that are still going to be pretty good. Hamilton County graduated a bunch. Flora graduated a bunch. And then El Dorado graduated a couple of really, really nice players. And so, I feel like we're trending in the right direction. We're very young with 2 seniors. And I feel like that any given night, if we find a way to upset one of those better teams, we'll find ourselves fighting for a conference championship. Certainly we're going to be in the top half. I mean, that's something we talked about. We haven't had an opportunity to have goals and to talk about expectations for the season. We haven't had that much time to do that yet. But my expectation is certainly to be in the top half, which we haven't been since I've been coaching, because your Fairfields and your Hamilton counties and your El Dorados have been so good. But I think we're at that level now. We can compete with those teams, and I do think maybe a couple of those teams have taken a step backwards. So I think it puts us in an opportunity to definitely be at the top half. But there's going to be some key games coming up in December when we host Fairfield, and then when we go up to Edwards County there in January. Like, we're going to have to get a couple of those if we want to put ourselves in a spot to bring home a trophy.
Last question I have. You've been coaching for a long time, whether it's football, track, or basketball, and been coaching alongside your brother as well, a few of those sports. Kind of what's that relationship like with your brother? Obviously, I know you guys butt heads on a couple of things like all siblings do, but I got to imagine it's a cool experience for you two, just knowing how much you guys love sports and love this community and that school. Kind of what's that been like, being beside your brother this long?
It's pretty cool. When you get to walk into work every day and, work with your brothers, a pretty neat experience, but not just work, but now we get to coach, and he and I are competitors, and he gets so mad at me most of the time, and he'll shoot me a text, we got to be doing this, or we need to go do that, or I'm like, dude, just let's settle down, and then vice versa. I'll be saying something, he's just like, stop, just quit. But we get along extremely well. I wouldn't say we always have, because I was 5 years older and I thought he was annoying, and he always wanted to chase me around and do everything that I did, which I didn't want him to be around. But no, it's awesome, to have that opportunity to coach together and work together and complain together and celebrate together. It's a neat experience that most people don't probably get the opportunity. And he and I know when we've pushed each other's buttons, and we know when we probably just need to stop talking for a second before we make the other one pretty mad. But for the most part, we agree probably 90% of the time. And it goes back to, we're going to play hard. We're going to outwork people. We're going to be extremely physical, or as physical as we can be. And we're very aware that the athletes come and go. We've been here our whole lives, and we've seen groups when we were younger come through here. The argument of what's the best run of athletes through our school's history, and hopefully we got some older guys out here in the 60s and 70s, and you come have a cup of coffee with me and we'll argue all day long. I'm going from 1997 to about 2006. I mean, you just look at all the accolades that we have there, not just regionals, but then getting to some Elite Eight state appearances. I mean, boys and girls, golf, you name it. I know we've got the 5 state champions golf in the 70s, but just across the board, girls and boys athletics. I was in high school during the run. My brother was in high school at the end of the run. We know what it can be like, and we know how fun it is. And that's when we went up to the state tournament for the volleyball. It's like, we've been to the state tournament for basketball. We've never had a team there. I've gone to several state football games, whether it's my wife's hometown of Gibson City or going up to watch Mount Carmel or watching Isaac get his, all-state accolades the last 2 years and watching games. I'm just a junkie. I'll drive all the way to Calb to watch a couple of football games. Why not? When it's 32 degrees outside and the wind's blowing up there in northern Illinois where it's flat as a fiddle and it feels like 26. I'll sit there for 2.5 hours, 3 hours and catch a couple of games. I mean, but now all of a sudden we had an opportunity to be there with our girls there. I mean, that's unbelievable. That's awesome. I mean, that's what it's all about. And you don't get there very often. I know you guys were talking earlier about the volleyball team's young, the expectation, let's do it again. And that's absolutely the mindset you have to have. You're totally right. But you don't get to see that very often. Yeah. You don't see too many public schools that just keep going back time and time and time again. And so, embrace it, love it, have fun with it. And then that's what we did as, he and I sat there watching the games together. And so it's just a lot of fun to be able to do it with him, and we'll see how long we get to do it together. Who knows? There may be a day where they tell us to go fly a kite and they're ready for new blood in here. I don't know, but until that day comes, he and I'll still keep showing up for the maroon and white and battling.
Awesome. Well, Coach, we appreciate your time. Appreciate all you do for not only girls basketball, but all the sports that you help coach here in Carmi. And best of luck this season. We'll see you on Monday down in Harrisburg as you guys take on El Dorado.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. And just a shout out to you guys and Chris and JC over there, what you guys have done here with the radio and the streaming and expanding your services and the coverage that you guys provide. Carmi Athletics, it's second to none. It's unbelievable, and we're really, really thankful for all you guys.
Appreciate it. We'll step aside right here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.3 WRUL, 93.3 WROI, and AM 1460. Welcome back to the Saturday Morning Sports Show here on 97.3 WRUL, 93.3 WROI, and AM 1460. Big thanks to Clinton Wolf stopping by the studio this morning and talking about the CWC Girls Basketball team. They began their season back on Thursday with a win over Lawrenceville. They will take part in the Harrisburg Preview Tournament beginning on Monday. Looking at other events going on this week for CWC Athletics here in Thanksgiving week, so only a few basketball games. Wrestling will also be in action on a Monday as they travel to Carterville. The 7th and 8th grade boys will take on Harrisburg at Harrisburg. The 7th and 8th grade girls will host Harrisburg on Monday, with, of course, Carmi, the girls team, playing El Dorado at Harrisburg at the varsity level. On Tuesday, the CWC boys basketball team will begin their season as they travel to Gallatin County, and the girls will take on West Frankfort down in Harrisburg on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, the girls will play Harrisburg in the Harrisburg tournament. They'll wrap it up on Saturday as they play AJ to finish up the Harrisburg preview. Travis, I'm looking forward to Tuesday's boys game, seeing them in action for the first time this year as they take on Gallatin County. Me being a teacher at Gallatin, I've heard all the trash talk for the last couple months. That is their Super Bowl. They're ready for it. I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Carmi replaces the production of those two good seniors, great seniors last year, and they're both playing college basketball now. Just to see how they're going to replace just two key cogs in a 27-26 win season. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see who can step up and who's going to really take the lead in terms of that leadership role.
Our broadcast schedule for this week, we will be in Harrisburg on Monday. Jason Craig will join me as the Lady Bulldogs take on El Dorado. Then Travis will drive up to Gallatin County, meet me there as the boys take on the Hawks. Then on Wednesday, we'll be in Harrisburg again as they take on Harrisburg. And that will be it for this week. Tuesday's game will be viewable on the WRUL Sports YouTube channel. The other two games will be radio only on 97.3 WRUL. It's about to get real busy, Travis, over the next couple of months, but it's exciting, and like I said, it's a lot more exciting when you're doing it for a couple of really good teams.
Yeah, it's always good when your team is good, and I can tell you these girls and boys basketball teams are going to be very tough competition this year.
All right, so with Chris Myers out, his ability to correctly guess some sporting events wasn't as good this year as it was last year. I didn't do the total count, but I'm pretty sure I beat Chris. I'll take the bragging rights for that one. I'll try to do a better job at keeping track of me and Travis's results. Travis actually said he doesn't trust me to keep these results on my own. He's going to take a picture when I write them down before we leave here today. He's got trust issues, knowing me for 23 years.
Yeah, so. I know you all too well. Like Coach Wolf said, him and his brother are competitive. Well, I'm just as competitive as anyone.
That's fair. All right, so we've got 5 college football games going on today, and then 5 NFL games going on tomorrow. We will start the first one. A couple of unranked teams. Michigan State travels to Indiana. Travis, who do you got in this one?
I'm going to have to take Indiana. They had that tough loss to Illinois. Barn burner shootout.
It's a great game.
Great game. Defense was negotiable, and they're at home, so I'm just going to have to take Indiana.
With it being at home, I think I will take the Hoosiers as well. Number 2, Michigan. They travel to Maryland. Of course, no Coach Harbaugh today. I do think it will be a good game. The spread is, I think, 19.5. Maryland is one of those teams where you never know who's going to show up for them. I will take Michigan in a one-score game. I think Michigan by 7 here.
Yeah, I mean, the talent difference is too much to overcome for Maryland. Even without Coach Harbaugh, I think Michigan has it.
Number 22, Utah. At number 17, Arizona. Who do you got here, Trav?
Ooh, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say the upset, Utah.
Okay. Well, I've got to pick an opposite eventually. I will go with the home team here, the higher seed. Give me the Wildcats of Arizona here. Another interesting matchup in the SEC. Number 1, Georgia travels to 18, Tennessee. Who do you got?
Georgia. I mean, they've been a factory pipeline for defense in the NFL the last 3 or 4 years, and they're still that.
I think Tennessee will keep it relatively close, maybe in the first half, but I will also go with the number 1 seed Bulldogs. Interesting game in the Pac-12. Number 5, Oregon, or number 5. I can't talk this morning. Number 5, Washington at number 11, Oregon State. Give me the Huskies of Washington. That's Washington.
I know. Thank you very much. Make sure clarification, pronouns, pal. I'm going to go with the home team, Oregon State, just to be different.
I mean, it's going to be a good game. Oregon's just a pretty good year this year. All right, on to the NFL games tomorrow, where my expertise is a little bit better. Chargers at the Packers. I'm going to go with Los Angeles here. It's in Green Bay.
It is in Green Bay, but Jordan Love is no Aaron Rodgers. Give me the Chargers.
Okay. Arizona travels to Houston to take on the Texans. C.J. Stroud, man, they've been balling lately. I got to go Texans here.
Why are you taking my picks? I'll also go the Texans.
Arizona looked better last week with Kyler Murray, but I got used to it.
I mean, C.J. Stroud's a dark horse MVP candidate at this point in the season as a rookie.
He's got Rookie of the Year wrapped up as far as offense. He's had a great season. Seattle, they travel to L.A. to face the Rams. Who do you got, Travis?
I think this is going to be a really good game, but I'm going to go with the Seahawks if Stafford is still out, and I do believe he is.
Yeah, Stafford has not been able to stay healthy the past 2 seasons at all since they won the title back in 21. I will also take Seattle here. Big game of interest for you, being a Vikings fan. Minnesota travels to Denver to face the Broncos. Broncos have won 3 straight games, a big upset win last week over the Bills. I'm going to take Broncos country, let's ride. Give me Denver here.
You're gonna let Russ cook, huh?
I'm gonna let Russ cook.
I'm riding Josh Dobbs till the train falls off the tracks.
I will say that is
That's a great
Josh
story.
Dobbs, the Steelers drafted him, and I liked him when he was in Pittsburgh. Never got a chance to play. He's really hard to dislike. I mean, I don't know how anybody can not like Josh Dobbs. What he's done in Minnesota has been nothing short of miraculous. I love the Vikings here, but I'm taking Denver to win this one.
I mean, Josh Dobbs, aerospace engineer, full-time NFL quarterback. I mean, what can you not like about him? He just got that likable charm to him.
And last one, I believe this is Monday night's game, Super Bowl rematch, Eagles at the Chiefs. This is tough. I don't know who to pick here. It's in Kansas City. You know, both teams have had their ups and downs this year. I'm going to ask you who you got first so I can choose the opposite.
So you're going to choose the opposite. As much as I think the Eagles are a better overall team, player for player, I'm going to have to go with Chiefs. You can't bet against Patrick Mahomes in Arrowhead. Especially if Taylor Swift's in the building for Travis Kelce. If that's the case, it's over. I promise you, it's over. So you can guys just. I'm not saying take out a second mortgage to put down on the Chiefs, but with Taylor Swift there, Travis Kelce puts up 100 yards a game and 2 touchdowns, seems like. So
well, I think Jason Kelce and the Eagles are going to get revenge. I think Taylor Swift, I don't know if she's lost yet being at a Chiefs game. I think this could be the first one. Give me Jason Kelce, the other Kelce brother, and the Eagles winning this one Monday night, a Super Bowl rematch there in Kansas City. Well, Travis, it's fun to have you back in the studio. It's going to be a fun winter sports season with both Lady Bulldog and Bulldog basketball really getting into full swing next week. So I know we've both been busy lately, haven't seen each other as much over the past couple of weeks, but get ready, buddy. We're going to see each other a lot over the next couple of months.
Yeah, we're going to wish we hadn't said that in about 3 or 4 weeks here, but it's always a good time.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And again, a big thanks to Clinton Wolf stopping by, talking to us this morning about the girls basketball team. We'll talk to his brother Kevin next Saturday as he'll stop by as the Bulldog basketball team. They begin their season on Tuesday. And a reminder, we'll have Monday's girls game as well as Wednesday's girls game on the radio only. Tuesday's boys basketball game at Gallatin County can be listened to on 97.3 WRUL and watched on the WRUL Sports YouTube channel. So big thanks to JC Tinsley across the hallway getting us on the air. For Travis Black, I'm Cole Carter saying have a great weekend, sports fans.